But for now, we'll take you to the National Theatre, right? Despite its construction some 30 years ago, there's really nothing to write home about with regards to its current state, as the place keeps deteriorating, right? Basic services such as the air conditioning system and all of that don't even work anymore. It's quite a sad situation. My colleague Fred Duhoe in the ChannelOne newsroom visited the National Theatre and came through with this report.
Sounds of drums echo as young men and women rehearse ahead of a crucial play in this building. This is where many find fulfillment in showcasing their talents. The National Theatre, in its current state, is magnificent from the aerial view, but rotten within. Air conditioners in the main auditorium are not working. Some seats are damaged, and patrons have to sometimes provide external power backups to use the facility. Nothing has changed since my last report on this facility last year. Workers raised concerns and issued warnings to the board members and management in their most recent demonstrations. Workers' demands may have been partly resolved, but repairs to the facility are far beyond mere demands. The National Theatre, built in 1992 to spearhead the theatre movement in Ghana, provides a needed multifunctional venue for concerts, dance, drama, musical performances, screenplays, exhibitions, and special events. The theatre, a building with a complex structure, has a total area of 11,900 square meters and cost $20 million. Na Ashoko, a TV presenter and producer, once worked here.
Prior to working actively as a creative arts person or performing arts person at National Theatre, I worked here at the National Theatre as an usher between 2016 to 2006 to 2010 when I was a student at GIJ. And so I saw the National Theatre when it was first refurbished or renovated. It was one of the most beautiful places to come to, as a young lady at that time. Fast forward, getting into the creative arts space, working here at the National Theatre, I'd say that things are not like they used to be.
Her passion for the arts is the reason she keeps coming.
This National Theatre is the best building in the country for any theatre performance. It's got the pit, it's got the curtains, it's got the space, the acoustics, it's got a good stage. The auditorium is perfect. Like any old building, it has some major defects that need to be relooked at. The auditorium chairs, some of them have been fixed now, but we saw that a lot of them were broken because people come in and they don't take good care of the space. The bathrooms are not in the best of shape. Folks Place, if you've been to Folks Place, it's a small amphitheater on the side of the National Theatre where sometimes smaller productions are held. It's not in the best shape right now.
Despite the state of the facility, it costs about 10,000 Ghana cedis to rent the main auditorium and about 3,000 Ghana cedis for other spaces within the facility. I caught up with a patron hosting a launch of the National Heritage Quiz.
We chose the National Theatre for the launch because we are talking about national. With the national in quote, we're looking at where everybody is part of it. We don't want to center it at just a small portion where others will think they are not part of it. But this is for the whole country. That is why we decided to choose the National Theatre.
How much did it cost to get a facility where you are now?
It's the smaller capacity hall. And this one, it was given to us at 2,700. We have to go in for our own chairs, our own sound. Even the decoration, we had to pay for it.
For Nashoko, the government must prioritize the refurbishment of the National Theatre to bolster confidence in the sector.
Where the money should come from, whether we need a loan or we need a grant or we need private sector to want to invest, I just know that we need to fix the space. We shouldn't wait until it's totally, in a shape that will require major work. It already requires major work. But if we don't fix it now, a time will come when we will probably need so much more than we need now to fix it.
Answering questions at the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament, the Deputy Tourism Minister, Marco Kumante, revealed that the renovation of the National Theatre hinges on the Chinese government and the frequent changes in its envoy to Ghana remain a challenge.
Originally, we wanted to get support from the Chinese government because they built the National Theatre for us, especially to do with technology. It's been so many years, and so some of the technology there are outmoded, and getting them from other countries was also difficult. And so it's been back and forth because they keep changing the ambassador and all of that. So we are still pursuing with the Chinese embassy. But if Ghana government would also help, I think it will be prudent.
The National Theatre has lost its glory, but for lovers of art, music and drama, they have no choice than to still make do with what they have. This particular facility was constructed in 1990 to 1992. It took 2 years to construct this entire facility, but today it is taking forever for it to be renovated. We understand this was a gift from the Chinese government to the people of Ghana. And as we speak, the entire facility is in a sorry state. The chairs in there, some are broken, and a number of things are not functioning. And the lovers of art and drama, or the patrons of this particular facility, say they are appalled by the current state of the facility as to what it would take the government, despite the revenue generated from this facility, to still wait on another foreign country to renovate it for us beats imagination. My name is Fred Duhoe reporting for ChannelOne News.
Wow, so back in studio, Fred, who did that report, joins us in studio to really just tell us a little more about what's happening there. Really distressing state of the National Cathedral, if you ask me, because it was once the National Theatre. definitely not the National Cathedral. That's just a big hole. That's the biggest hole. We are talking the National Cathedral. Guys.
National Theatre.
We are talking the National Theatre. What's happening to me? What's happening to me?
Is it because of the manifesto launch yesterday where they said they'll be, they'll investigate the huge
probably. We are not talking about the world's biggest hole. We are talking the National Theatre.
Yay.
Very well, right? Great. Fred, Charlie, it's great having you. Don't do
I
this.
can't help but to laugh.
Don't do this.
And
Don't
knowing
do this.
Fred,
Don't
he's
do
going
this.
to go for that video and post it.
Don't do this.
Come on.
I think this is very distressing and very depressing as well.
Where do we need that?
I quite remember you've done this story.
Yes.
And
About 9 months ago.
and 9 months on,
Yeah.
it's still the same, or has anything changed since you went there?
Nothing has changed. Maybe the workers' agitation against the board for certain demands. That would be in terms of remuneration or some level of payments to be done. That one, I didn't hear much about it this time around. So it is possible that workers' demand has been met some way, somehow. Because when I interviewed some of them, they said they do not have much of an issue like they did in the past, or 9 months ago, where they even needed to do a bit of protest to gain attention from the board. You remember the board chairman, Mr. Ufuriata, he held a press conference to address the complaints or the petition that was sent to him by the workers. The workers were demanding, among other things, that the place be renovated. Now, if 9 months on, I visited the same facility and workers are not bitter or complaining, they may have issues, but maybe it's been resolved partially. So they are quite calm with their...
But how can you be calm?
But for the facility...
Yeah, if the facility is still in the shape.
It is still in this terrible state, and that calls for worry. Now, this is a facility that was donated to Ghana as a gift 32 years ago. It took the country, which is China, the Republic of China, to build this within 2 years, 1990 to 1992.
Right.
Within 2 years. Now, since then...
Within 30 years, we can't maintain it.
We can't really maintain what we've been given. I think it's about time that we set up a fund, sort of, where we will dedicate it to maintaining public infrastructure, because our maintenance culture in this country has been very, very bizarre. I mean, and we don't really care that much when it comes to maintaining our facilities. So Going forward, this is a clear example. This is a typical one with this National Theatre that we see in this state. The fountain, the water fountain that you go when you are even passing by, you see sprinkling
Doesn't
water.
work.
I mean,
The algae
it's
on the
rusted.
building. It's
Everything in
But
there.
my question
The
is-
chairs are broken.
yeah.
Some chairs
some
are broken.
chairs are
ACs are
broken.
not working in the main auditorium. Now,
lighting
even if you want to
system.
go, the main auditorium has a capacity of 1,500 people.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the number of shows people can host over there. Shows still take place there.
That's what I was coming to. That the money that those like when people hire the place, where does that money go to, and why is that money not being channeled into certain, fixing the place up?
That is a very brilliant question to ask. No one really knows where those monies go to. There should be an
So
account.
no accountability.
I don't know whether it can be the consolidated fund though.
No.
But there should be an account where this revenue generated from state infrastructure are channeled into. Now, what happens if there is something happening in this infrastructure that you need to repair, need to renovate? What should be the procedure? How come it's so difficult for managers of the facility to access part of those funds to fix certain basic things? Now, when I went there quite recently, that was last week, what I was expecting to see at least is that the broken chairs should have been fixed. Because how much would it cost to get those chairs? So those chairs you see on your screen,
Yeah. They're from
they are
1992.
still there in that state. And I was so surprised. So how much will it cost to replace the... If you... See, as we speak, Parliament is going under serious
Yeah,
renovation.
refurbishment. Yeah. But
Parliament
yeah.
of the state. So it boils down to priorities. If members of Parliament see the need, those chairs that they stood up from to go on recess quite recently.
There's nothing wrong with them.
So
there's
how
nothing wrong with
come
those chairs.
where people would go to sit and generate revenue for the state is in this state? So I kind of think that it's, would I say managerial issues?
It's a leadership problem in a lot of respects.
And a bit of priority, setting our priorities right.
Leadership.
We are not getting it right.
No.
So Parliament currently is undergoing this whole refurbishment. Chairs, I don't know if they're going to be replaced. A number of things are going to change when Parliament resumes. We are going to see a whole lot of things.
Brand new
Brand
Parliament.
new stuff. But for a place such as the art industry, National Theatre, where if anyone comes from the diaspora, the person will be like, oh, okay, it is evening. I want to go see where we can play
Watch a
drama, a place where the tradition of this country, the cultural tradition of this country is
Right.
preserved and is being played out for us to see, and it's in this state. I mean, it's
We
quite
understand
sad.
also that it's become a place for vagrants, right? So you have a lot of homeless people just
That one, they
loitering
normally
around.
sit
outside.
on the fence wall. So you see people over there, and most of them being the hawkers as well. When they are doing their sale in the day and they are tired, they take rest on the fence wall. But within the National Theatre,
Right.
there is a whole lot of rot. When you are driving past the frontage, like I mentioned, the fountain, you
Are
see
not
the
working.
pipes are all
But how about
rusted.
the other departments? Because we know that the Ghana Dance Ensemble, for example, the Ghana National Symphony, all have like spaces and even halls in
All
there.
these spaces are there. Now, Jude, one interesting thing is when I went there, they were doing rehearsal. And you see this TV personality, actress, was her name,
Nashoko.
Nashoko. And it is for her love of the art. That is why she even sometimes leave the TV screen to go and do this play for some time. Now, you go there, she's dedicated all her energy alongside George Quay and other young minds who are
Right.
there just to
Push culture, push art.
and push everything. And you see them, I mean, they'll be sweating because the ACs are not working.
Oh, Charlie.
The entire environment and the ambience over there doesn't really depict a place where you should go and relax and do any meaningful art. Now, when you enter their offices, where the managers are sitting, I was trying to get response. So I went to the administration, went to the PR department, and they gave me seats. And the place is like, when you go to this rural setting, you see the classrooms that are not having any attention. Dilapidated, the chairs are so these olden chairs that headmasters used to use in the 90s.
With the foam on the chair.
That is what is still there. The tables. And you see, one of the interesting things is, yes, those things are of age, but they are still strong.
Yeah.
These were made with hardwood, but you can
proper.
polish them. You can make them look brighter a
you
bit.
can refurbish them.
See,
But if you go there right now, where they sit in their offices, the fans are not sometimes working.
see, the problem at the National Theatre is purely down to a leadership failure in many respects. Look at the National Conference Center, the International Conference Center, for example. That is managed by the Foreign Affairs Ministry. See how they've kept the place in shape. Recently, I went there and I went to the VIP lodge. I couldn't believe it was the International Conference Center. And you look at the contrast with that and the National Theatre, and you're wondering, how have we made this to happen? I listened to your report. I listened to the Deputy Minister, and he's telling us that the reason why the place
The envoys
is
are
in
being
a
replaced
deplorable
frequently.
state is because Chinese envoys or ambassadors have been replaced frequently, and they were the ones supposed to give guidelines and some support, of course, in terms of infrastructure, engineering, and finance in developing the place. And I'm like, hey, if he said this in 2018, when Nanado was hard on this whole Beyond in Ghana agenda, he would have been fired, right? So also, another problem is that the National Theatre has become a symptomatic appeal of the current state of affairs in this country, right? Because you have a government who, in any case, after saying we'll go beyond aid, has borrowed the largest from the Eurobond, 11 billion. Then you have a deputy minister saying we need Chinese aid to develop the place. But the point is that there's been a complete leadership failure. Nana Fredia Oforiatta, I don't think the leadership he's provided has been sufficient in terms of developing the place. Why do I say so? Because we've seen some state agencies where CEOs, the board took over and they've transformed the place. Ghana Publishing Company is one of example of such state agencies, right? So, and you see, it's not even like the National Theatre has come to a complete halt. You still have programs going on there.
Almost
what
every blessed
was the
weekend.
leadership put in place to generate internally generated funds that to develop the place? Why should we have to wait and say we are waiting for government all the time when events are going on there, when people are doing things there? Look at the prime location of the place. In any case, how much would it have cost to fix the chairs in the place, like Fred is saying, the lighting, the air conditioning system? And it's not even like the place is not working at all. So for me, I think, there are two things. It's a reflection on the kind of leadership we have in this country and what's allowed to be permitted. It's also a failure on the part of it. And I heard him say, another problem is that in the report he filed some 9 months ago, he was saying that, they were going to petition the president to extend the Director General's tenure because she had reached retirement age. And I'm like,
those are some of the things that are of concern to them more than...
Are you kidding me?
Getting the
the Director General, make it make sense. The Director General has reached retirement age. And he was saying
the board's concern is to go and petition the president.
Extend the Director General's tenure so that she will come and continue. Are there no young people in the country again? Are we not seeing people in the space? Look at this whole 3 music awards Baba Sadiq and Co put together. Are there no young people who are able to transform the creative sector, the entertainment and art sector?
On that note, I would even believe that I even want to say that the people within the creative space are not, quote unquote, serious with the National Theatre. Enough. They are not angry. Because if this is something that really represents you as a creative person, and this is
I get where you're coming from.
Then you should question yourself and ask yourself, so what are we doing differently? Imagine, is it a case that if Sarkodie, Shatawale, Tomboy, the big boys in terms of the music space, and then when it comes to the drama and the culture space, you want to tell me if all these guys put their minds together to say that, hey, we are going to raise a petition that fix the National Theatre now, fair. You think they can't do it? But they can do it so easily.
You also raise a point about priorities, right? There's a length to which you can push government to say, fix this for us. If government is not minded or there's not that clear political willpower for government to be committed to it, they won't. And you can make all the noise about beyond the return, right? We brought in the most visitors in Ghana after putting together the year of return, right, and how it's or boosted the tourism sector. But this is also the scorecard of the treatment we've given to the tourism industry. And for me, I think it's embarrassing, really,
but the
to
same
say the least.
tourism industry solicited for funding to renovate the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum.
Right.
And it was done so beautifully from the World Bank.
So is this under the tourism ministry?
This is under the tourism
creative and
ministry.
art.
So if they were able to do that for the mausoleum, what's the difference between the mausoleum and this?
So that is where, I mean, that is
shameful.
what baffles me a lot. Because if the deputy minister is saying that they really need to rely on the Chinese government.
Can you imagine?
That is what, because is
2024.
there a contractual agreement that it is only the Chinese architect who, I mean, constructed this?
That can...
Is he the only person who can give the technical know-how?
So there are no
to
carpenters
renovate it?
to fix broken chairs.
So if
there are no
let's say the
technicians
architect
to replace ACs.
excuse my language, dead and gone,
Right.
the place is still going to be in this state.
Right.
What do we mean? Is it the money that we want to fix it? So there are two separate things here. Assuming we have money right now to fix it, must we necessarily rely on the Chinese architect to get it fixed? That is one.
See, that whole
if we
Chinese
don't
thing
have the money,
was a nice excuse.
Is it the Chinese government that must give us the resources because they give it to us? Don't forget, this is a gift too.
It was a gift from the Chinese government to
I mean,
Ghana.
based on the relationship Ghana and the China governments had in the past, in 1990 to 1992. I think that was the Rawlings era and stuff like that.
Right.
And this is one of the legacy you can say that you can pinpoint and say is within the arts and cultural space. And if this is the state, I mean, it beats imagination. And I kind of really struggle to wrap my head around it. If the deputy minister, they can't look for funding to get this fixed.
But even if they're not looking for funding, there are shows going on every single weekend.
Exactly what I'm coming to.
Because if I'm not exaggerating, I feel I've been there three or more times watching stage plays, watching musical concerts.
On the number of times concerts have happened there. And you see, we let it permit because the organizers too will find a way anyway. You see, and the iconic location of the place makes it very suitable for events.
And it's very accessible to
everyone.
Yeah.
So, Liberation Road, center like that, right? So then the event organizers, they are coming, they'll just bring in their movable ACs, they'll fix chairs in the broken ones, the stage is set and everything, they'll bring in their own lighting system, then they are good to go.
The small conference room that was even late to the gentleman who spoke in the report, it was given to them at 2,700 Ghana cedis.
Look at that.
They provided their own chairs, they provided their own decor, they provided their own, I think the AC at least was working in that particular facility. But a number of things, the sound system, they provided it by themselves.
So what does the 2007 cover? Just the space?
So there's the space. You've gotten a space to use for your program. This particular facility is located not too far from Movenpick. Look at the number of foreigners who go to Movenpick to sleep. Just on the other side is, what's the name? Kempinski. And there are a number of luxurious hotels, and you and I may not be able to afford.
Foreign visitors are coming through.
Foreign visitors are coming to drive by that particular facility.
They pass right in front.
So it tells you that if they see the inscription boldly on this
National
Theatre, oh, okay, a curious mind will say, let me go in there and see what is happening.
And then you enter, and then this is what you are met with.
Where you are welcome.
Did you enter their washrooms?
It's a sad place. Yes, it's in a deplorable state. The washrooms are just a no. It's just a...
So if
a whole lot is happening.
Would you say there was any one positive takeaway? Maybe something you saw that looked like, okay, maybe there's hope.
From the aerial view, the National Theatre looks beautiful.
But from the
because
the
architectural infrastructure over there, so the idea behind it, when you look at it from the aerial perspective, is so nice. When you go in there, what really caught my attention in terms of beauty was where the conference was being held and the lights, so beautiful.
So it's not all gloom. Well, we should be doing better.
See, you can't really go in today and say you want to just renovate this part of the National Theatre. You'd have to do the entire facility.
Close it down
and do a proper job. You can't say you want to do this place today, do this place the next day, so this place. No. The entire facility has to be shut down and proper attention needs to be given to this particular facility. Just as it was done for the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, I still believe that
We can
if
do it
we
for
look
them.
for the funding and we make a strong case, just like it was done for the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, it can be done for the National Theatre. This is, when you go there, you see the young minds there.
People are
that
doing
is
things.
where people are trying to
That's
really
where they get
get
their
shop.
bread and
I'm
butter.
telling you,
Was the gift shop and the restaurant still operating? Because I know they had these two,
they are still operating.
and they are
still
making
operating.
money,
Well,
probably paying rent.
But
obviously.
Fred, we're not contractors though. But did you find out about the structural integrity? Is it still, or if we're renovating, are we just, doing the structure as is, or would it have to be pulled down, like the structural integrity of the structure?
With a layman's perspective, I'm like you even
Yeah,
alluded to,
we're
I'm
not- we're not
an
contractors.
expert in this. But what I see, the building, the blocks are firm.
Okay.
Okay, the blocks are firm. The fact that there are algae and some places are getting green and stuff
Yeah,
like that and
just
leaking,
probably needs
those places
polishing
would
and-
have to be
yeah.
done properly. But generally, from what I see, you may not have to change the entire or pull the entire facility down to renovate. You would have to, it will require an intensive renovation though, but as to pulling the entire facility down, I doubt. Because you can't, you see, the idea that went into the entire architectural stuff,
It was
when
well
you
thought
read,
through.
when you
The
read
design.
about it, it's so beautiful. It's in
Yeah,
the form
it's-
of a sheep.
Yeah,
Some
or a
people say-
seagull.
Or a seagull that
Yeah,
has
spread its wings. It's
I mean,
beautiful.
when you read about it, it's just a nice
beautiful.
facility
It's
to really
beautiful.
go in there and enjoy.
It's a huge letdown.
But I don't think we
honestly.
should let the young men and women who are still
Passionate.
hoping that
Yeah.
it gets better and still go in there to practice, to act their play. We shouldn't let them down. We should always go there to patronize what they are showing to the public.
But why
Then
can
they
I
get
go
their
there if
facility.
the washroom? So if I have an emergency, I have to use the washroom. Fred, what should I do? I asked you about the washroom, right? And you told me the state it's in. So
It's not in the
there's
best of
only
shape,
as
but-
much you
If
can
you
do.
go there, make sure you don't drink water.
Yeah,
Or
but
you even
anything
prepare,
can
if
happen.
you know that this weekend you're going to, go there and watch a play, just prepare very well. You may be hard pressed at certain points in time, but
the
you
call,
may
the
also
call
try
should
and as
be
much
to
as
the
possible
board
not to.
and the management to do the right thing, right? They after 7 years of managing the place, you can't tell me
Sometimes
that
when we take positions, and we should be able to ask ourselves, okay, when you come to ChannelOne TV right now, okay, it is in this state before it was handed over to me.
Right.
What must I do differently
to take it to the next level.
before I leave as a person, as a manager, as a board chair? If we ask those critical questions before we even occupy positions, I believe we'll be so
Yeah.
desperate to
I
see
agree
a
with
certain
you.
level of change.
Yeah.
But when you go and it's business as usual, oh, okay,
I met it
his
this way.
positions are vacant.
Yeah.
Let me also
Let me
occupy
also
it and
occupy it.
act
Yeah.
as though
What
I
are you
acted.
And to
leaving
be fair-
behind?
to
What
be fair-
impact?
behind.
What impact are you leaving
Okay.
behind? What will my name
I mean,
stand for
exactly,
as the
when-
board chair
that's the thing.
when I was
as a
in
manager,
yes,
as the director
yes,
of the
exactly.
facility?
I
These
totally
are the
agree
critical
with you.
questions we should
I
ask
totally
before
To
agree
be
with you.
fair,
leave office.
the place, the deterioration of the National
It didn't
Theatre,
start-
it
it
didn't
didn't start
start
just
with this
yesterday.
board or with
Or
this
this government.
management or
Exactly.
this government. It started over time for some time, right? But like Fred is saying, and I agree spot on, what was your contribution to develop the place, to make care of international status? And like I said, it's a general symptomatic problem of a lot of problems wrong with this country. And for me, I think we lost the plot completely when the deputy minister tells us that we needed
They're waiting
Chinese
for the
support
Chinese people.
and their constant change.
He
in
concluded
ambassadors.
even by saying that, oh, okay, maybe let's look at government coming in to renovate it.
Right.
So the possibility of government also raising funds to fix it is there. And the minority member on that particular committee that they said that, oh, just their usual politics. If you don't fix it, when we come, we'll fix it.
Charlie-
And then the politics continues. And that is where you realize that they are just toying with
if we want to
the
do it
general
there, if we
public.
want to do it there, Federal, trust me, we'll do it. African
Anything
Games.
is
committed to it.
possible.
Yeah, we went
can
to,
do
we went
it
to
if we want to do it.
the
but we
original
won't.
Accra Sports Stadium for the Africa. We saw the state of the washrooms before,
And after.
during, and after the African Games competition. So
Currently going on is the Parliament of Ghana. We've seen how it was. Okay,
Our
we've
priorities,
seen how it
our priorities as a
let's
country
set the
just need to be
priorities
set.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's
Let's
it.
set the
Simple.
priorities right. If
Simple.
we really take what the young men they are doing, the young women who wake up every morning to go and rehearse, to act, and still preserve our culture and tradition in the manner in which they do it, if we take them seriously and we take the creative space seriously, I believe before we even leave this set, let's take a critical look at the manifesto of the two political parties. Is there any line item stated about the National Theatre
Or
in
even
terms
the
of the
creative
creative
Or even the
space?
creative
So
space.
I think that going forward, we should be able to tease out of the manifestos.
Thank you so much, Fred. As usual, it's been a pleasure having you here.
Charlie, you see the
Thank
tie.
you.
He came to challenge you
Is it bow
at
tie or
this
flying
point.
tie?
It's a bow tie.
This is bow
My
tie.
brother,
Yeah.
This is not flying
I mean,
tie.
It's
the
a-
show is over and director can take over.
It's
You
right.
can't end your show.
Charlie, no, you see
If
the
you
tie.
can't end your
It's
show,
a
let
bow
me help
tie.
you end it.
Fred, thank you so
Fred,
much for
thank you.
joining us for the
Charlie.
conversation.
Thank you for having me.